8th grade chapter 4 review, which if you've caught on by now, that means you're taking a test after this. So we're just going to go through vocab and main points from each of the lessons. So first off, vocabulary. Density is how much matter or mass there is in a given amount of space or volume. Pitch, a description of how a sound is perceived as high or low. Loudness describes your awareness of the energy of a sound. Intensity is the amount of energy a sound wave carries per second through a unit area. Decibel, the unit used to compare the loudness of different sounds. Doppler effect, the change in frequency of a wave as its source moves in relation to an observer. Music, a set of notes that combine in patterns that are pleasing. Fundamental tone, the lowest natural frequency. Overtones, higher natural frequencies. Ear canal is a narrow region leading from the outside of the human ear to the eardrum. The eardrum is a small, tightly stretched, drum-like membrane. The cochlea is a liquid-filled cavity shaped like a snail shell. Echolocation is the use of reflected sound waves to determine distances or to locate objects. An ultrasound is sound waves with frequencies above the normal human range of hearing. And a sonogram is a picture created by a device that uses reflected waves. Sound is a disturbance, from lesson 1, we have our key point answers. Sound is a disturbance that travels through a medium as a longitudinal wave. The speed of sound depends on the temperature, stiffness, and density of the medium the sound travels through. The more dense the material, the more mass it has in a given volume. In denser materials, it is harder for the particles to move as sound waves pass by, and that slows sound down. Lesson 2, the pitch of a sound you hear depends on the frequency of the sound wave. The loudness of a sound depends on the energy and intensity of the sound wave. The Doppler effect occurs because the motion of the source causes the waves to either get closer together or spread out. Sound waves with a high frequency of a high pitch, sound waves with a low frequency of a low pitch. The more energy a sound wave has, the louder it sounds. A 10 decibel increase in loudness represents a tenfold increase in the intensity of the sound, or 10 times the loudness. Sounds louder than 100 decibels can cause damage to your ears, especially if you listen to those sounds for longer periods of time. Lesson 3, the sound quality of musical instruments results from blending a fundamental tone with its overtones. Most instruments produce several natural frequencies at once, and then we had 3 groups of musical instruments we talked about. The stringed instruments include the guitar, violin, cello, and double bass. They produce sound when they are plucked or rubbed with a bow. Percussion instruments include drums, bells, cymbals, and the xylophone. They vibrate when struck. And wind instruments include the trumpet, trombone, clarinet, and flute. They create sound when the musician blows on or across the mouthpiece. And that was just moving it up a little bit there. So, I did add one thing here. So most instruments produce several natural frequencies at once. The size, shape, and material of the instrument determine which overtones are best. Lesson 4, your ear gathers sound waves and sends information about sound to your brain. Your ear has 3 main sections, the outer ear, the middle ear, the inner ear. Each has a different function. The outer ear funnels sound waves. The middle ear transmits the waves inward, and the inner ear converts sound waves into a form that travels to your brain. Lesson 5, some animals, including bats and dolphins, use echolocation to navigate and find food. People use ultrasound technologies such as sonar and ultrasound imaging to observe things that they cannot see directly. So that's your review. Go back and look at something if you need to. Ask me a question if you need to. Otherwise, your assignment for Tuesday is to complete the Edmodal questions for Chapter 4 test. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, have a great Thursday.